Sports for Real with Coach Hall. The big game this week looks like it's going to be Nebraska and Colorado. Never mind the Alabama-Texas matchup. This one is a rivalry with seemingly a little bad blood mixed in. Colorado, fresh into the rankings since 2020, has climbed to number 22 after dispatching TCU over the weekend. Nebraska, on the other hand, they come in limping a little bit, having blown a lead against Minnesota and lost it in the end. Well, it's a little worse. People are now saying that Nebraska, who was a favorite before the season started to dispatch Colorado, is now an underdog. And when you add to the fire what Keyshawn Johnson is saying, he's saying they're pretty much slow and can't compete. Now, Colorado players are chirping, and they're embracing the rivalry. They respect Nebraska, but at the same time, they're pretty much saying, we got something for Nebraska. Then mix in the fact with Coach Prime and his receipts, he's aware of some of the things that Matt Rule might have said about him earlier in the year, so he just can't wait for a chance to get some get back. So when you add all this up, it looks like Nebraska doesn't have a chance. Well, what does Nebraska have? Well, what they have is the fact that most football teams usually get better from week 1 to week 2, more so than they do over the entire season. The second thing they have the fact that they had a chance to sit down and watch Colorado play live. That's more of an advantage than TCU had, and TCU had a chance to look at them for months. But TCU didn't know exactly what they were going to do or the personnel they were facing. But Nebraska does. And finally, Nebraska has the edge in the all-time series. Yes, the Colorado's won like 20 games, but that's mainly in the modern times. And Nebraska pretty much dominated Colorado for years. So most people are going with Colorado in this matchup. But again, Nebraska, they're not as bad as people are making them out to be. Yes, they lost to Minnesota, but they pretty much controlled the game until the end. TCU, on the other hand, made a lot of mistakes against Colorado that allowed them to escape. I'm not giving any of them a pass for the mistakes that they made, but there were enough mistakes there that you can see how both these teams lost these games. So having said that, it's going to be a nice matchup in Boulder this weekend. It's going to be a sellout crowd, which Colorado is touting, but you also have a lot of Nebraska fans that are going to be there. So it's going to be pretty interesting. I'm going to hold off on my pick right now, and I got some things I want to do later on concerning this rivalry, and there's a lot to cover, and I'm going to cover it. This is Sports for Real.